guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is entitled Neighbor Helps Herself to My Garden. Well, I should have known that no good deed goes unpunished. We have a small vegetable and herb garden in the corner of our yard. Two neighbors have the ability and my permission to reach over the fence and snip off any herbs they need. We always grow much more than we can use. One neighbor has been doing it for years with no problems. He takes a sprig or two a few times a week and always asks if he needs more than usual. He repays me in beautiful roses, but I would have no problem with not getting them in return. The other neighbor never cooked, so he never took any. Now he has a new GF and she happened to introduce herself while I was planting the herbs, so I offered her some once it has a chance to grow a bit. So, of course, 2 weeks after I planted, she snips off all but a few leaves off of every ducking herb. 2 weeks. I was livid. My BF went over and explained that it was too soon, the plants were tiny, not ready, etc. He's much nicer than I am. The neighbor apologized profusely and said the GF wouldn't be going anywhere near the herbs until I specifically allow it. A week later I catch this dumbass out there with a pair of scissors, but it's only been a week and there's nothing to ducking snip out there yet. Apparently, she can't make meatballs without parsley and the grocery store within walking distance is too far to go. One of my plants has 3 leaves on it. Seriously. The other neighbor doesn't dare take anything before mid-July. Certainly, he would never touch anything before I did. We looked at each other for a few seconds and then I just said, "Please get your herbs at the store from now on." I can't believe I managed to think of that. Usually, I think of a great comeback 10 minutes after the fact. She turned bright red and went in the house. Hopefully she embarrassed herself enough to stay away. I don't want to have problems with this neighbor. He's nice and quiet and doesn't bother anyone. Tomorrow it will be a week since I caught her again. We'll see what happens. Update. Just got home and had a chat with the nice neighbor, who told me that the over-snipper and her BF had some kind of disagreement a few days ago and he looked like he was sick of her crap. He hasn't seen her car since. Yes, he's old and nosy. He also plans to buy some parsley and basil seedlings to put on his side of the fence out of her reach. I gave him some pots and cinder blocks to put them on. You can't really see them from the other neighbor's yard unless you crane your neck, so that should work. With any luck, I will not be posting about her climbing into his yard through mine in the near future. Update 2. Since people are still commenting, I thought I'd post another quick update. The over-snipper's BF didn't break up with her. I've seen her car, but not her. No herbs have been harmed since my last post and everything is growing back in nicely. I used some of the parsley and chives in a potato salad the other day. It's such a luxury to just have it on hand. The nice neighbor planted more as promised and those are doing well, too. My BF is still convinced that she'll be causing more problems in the future. I'm hoping embarrassment continues to be a deterrent. The next story is titled Am I the A-hole for suing my girlfriend after she had my 1967 Impala project taken to the scrapyard? I'll try to keep this short. I had a 1967 Impala 4-door that I bought in February 2019. A couple months ago I bought my first house that had a 2.5 car garage. I moved the car in and started tearing it down for a complete restoration. I had the body in one bay and the chassis in another, plus the whole garage filled with parts. About 2 months ago my girlfriend came to live with me during this whole crisis and the whole time has hated that car. She wants to park in the garage but I have 2 acres of land with a lot of nice places to park under shady trees or hell even in the barn if it has to be inside. I tell her tough luck, it's my house and it's not like I can just throw it back together real quick. Anyways, I was out of town for a couple days on a business trip for the small local company I work for. When I got back, my girlfriend was all smiles. Making me food all the time, doing all the chores, all that. I thought maybe she just was happy to have me home, but then I realized that I didn't see her car in its usual spot. I asked her where she parked so I could make sure I mow that area and keep it clean and she said not to worry because she parked in the garage. I asked how and she told me to go check it out. Turns out that while I was gone she hired some people to come over and move everything related to that car, including the drivetrain, body, and chassis and all parts, and take it to the local dump, Scrapyard. I was absolutely dumbfounded. I had spent over $11,000 on that car including new parts, services, and the car itself. I told her that I was going to be taking her to court for that and she brushed me off like I was being dramatic. I told her that it's done between us and to pack her things and leave. I admit I was really angry, but I did end up getting a lawyer, and as I have all the receipts for all that money spent and I have her on my house's security cam footage letting the guys in and watching them take it all, I think I can win. Her family and friends are absolutely blowing me up saying it's just a stupid old piece of junk and that she cannot pay back all that money I spent, and that I should just let it go. But I have been putting all my time, effort, and money into that car for a year and a half now, and goddammit if I am not going to get justice for what she did. Am I the a-hole? Verdict. NTA. Edit. Thank you all so much for the support and awards and everything. I'm glad I have some people on my side. I got a call from her mom about 20 minutes ago and she told me that I was ruining her daughter's life over a stupid car. I told her she ruined her own life. I've been gathering documentation and stuff and I'm about to head down to the police station and file a report, as suggested by Lots here. Once again thank you all. Update. Went to the police station last night, was told to come back in the morning. Just got back and filed an official report against her for grand larceny and grand theft auto. I showed them all the receipts I had for the car and the footage of her letting the guys come and take it as well as the title for the vehicle in my name. They said they will be in contact with all three parties, me, XGF, and junkyard guys, soon and they will hopefully be able to recover some or all of the car. Just have to wait now. Huge update. They found my goddamn car. The junkyard guys apparently were in the middle of hiding it when the police came to ask them questions. It was on a forklift and they were gonna put it on top of a pile of cars that was hidden behind more piles of cars. They said it was theirs and they had the title, but obviously didn't have the title for it, and since they matched the VIN on the chassis and body to the VIN on my title, it was obviously mine. I know at least one person there has been arrested. I think he was in the camera footage I talked about earlier, but IDK if it was the boss or whomever or even his specific charge. They also told me they would be looking into this specific junkyard for any other vehicles reported stolen. They said they haven't been able to get in contact with my ex just yet, but they're working on it. I am just so glad they found my car. Luckily I made quite an album of pictures detailing me tearing down the car, and so I can use that to prove what parts they had were mine, so I can hopefully get most or all of it back. Police haven't let me take it back home yet as they say it is evidence or something, so hopefully I can get it back eventually. Thank you all so much for the support and advice. She's gonna be alright. Comment said not the a-hole, sue her ass. Sue her for the cost plus a few extra thousand for the time and money. Have her prosecuted for theft, destruction of private property, and have the guys that came to get it prosecuted for receiving stolen goods. Nail them all to the wall. Another comment said not the a-hole. Holy crap, definitely not the a-hole. That's like your girlfriend selling a dog out from under you while you are on a business trip because she didn't like it. The audacity. If she didn't like it, she could have just ignored it. The most toxic part is that she sees no issue. Your property, your house, she throws it away? And if any judge knows the worth of that car, they would understand suing her for the costs. Let alone the time you spent on it. That's a hobby, and a damn good one. If she couldn't support you in your project, that probably would have been a red flag for anything you do later on. I think this is all justified. The next story is titled Karen didn't believe the correct directions, so I gave her terrible directions. This happened probably 30 years ago, before GPS was in every car. This might not fit this subreddit, but seems to be in keeping with many of the other stories. I grew up near a flea market that was extremely popular. It was located in a rural area about 45 minutes outside a major metropolitan area, and in the summer the lines to get into the parking lot would be backed up a half mile or more. The market was open on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Selling frozen fruit bars from a cart there during the summer was my first job. I rode my bike there, and knew it was exactly 1 mile from our driveway to their driveway, on the same road. There was one intersection with a stop sign in the middle. One Tuesday after school had started, my sister and I were outside waiting for the bus. This woman rolls to a stop in front of us and asks if we knew how to get to the flea market. I told her it was a mile that way, pointing in the correct direction. She says they've already been that way. So I repeated, it's a mile that way. There is one stop sign that you need to go through, but it's on the same road we are on. She starts screaming that they've already been that way and asking why am I lying to her. So I apologized and said I was sorry for trying to mess with her. Sidebar. I was really good with maps, geography and spent a lot of my early teenage years riding my bike all over the area I grew up. So I then proceeded to give her a made-up set of turns going the opposite direction that would put her at least 25 minutes away from us, knowing our bus would pick us up in a minute or two. They were complicated enough that she had to get out a pen and paper and write them down, and she'd have a hard time backtracking to us even if she wanted to, and I was confident enough that she believed I wasn't bullcrapping her. My mom came out after the woman left and asked what was up. I said just another lost tourist looking for the flea market. The next story is titled You Should Have Bought from the Local Store. Some brief backstory. I retired from the Brown Truck Company, so anything you order online we will deliver. As long as it's under 150 pounds. I have 2 big boxes, leather side chairs, and 1 really big box, leather loveseat, for a residential address. I'm putting the second chair on a side porch, because it's covered and the driveway ends there, when an older woman comes out the side door. It's a pretty nice house and she doesn't look like our favorite femme fatale Karen, so I started back to my truck to get the loveseat on my 2-wheeler. I hear the dreaded, "Excuse me. Yes? I need this furniture in my den, the old furniture in my garage." "Yeah, okay." I start putting the last box on her porch when I get the, "Well, are you going to do it?" "No." What came next was a torrent of profanity that would make a sailor blush. Getting called lazy and stupid for the last time I yelled at her, "I don't ducking work for the local furniture store or Amazon, and the reason the local furniture store charges you more is they deliver it inside your house. That went over like poo in the punch bowl. I pay your salary and you will do what I say or I will get you fired." That was the point where I went from yelling to deathly calm. Looked her dead in the eye and told her, "I work for Brown Truck Company, they sign my check not you, and I'm a Teamster, so good luck getting me fired." I loved the Pikachu face she made. As I was walking away I turned back and told her, the camera on the back of my truck got everything on video and audio. Then gave her our favorite line, "Have a blessed day." That's Brown Truck Company driver code for duck off. The next story is titled I Rock Bottomed and entitled Dad at Work After He Slapped My Manager. This happened last year, but I just discovered this subreddit, so I feel like this story fits here. I work at a music store. My store sells instruments, obviously, rents out instruments, repairs instruments and provides private lessons. I get some crazy customers every now and then, but this is one where I got physical. This mom, dad, and their child, who looks to be about 10-ish years old, walk in and I could immediately tell the kid has attention deficit. Super hyper, asking questions to his parents randomly, running to the pianos and pounding on the keys, and just wouldn't stop his hyperactivity. Anyway, they come and want to rent out a trumpet because kid wants to be in band and orchestra. Dad just had a frown on his face the whole time while mom was being very civil and, at the same time, trying to calm the kid down, while dad just had the, "I really don't want to be here at all," look on his face. I tell the parents that renting a trumpet is $26 a month before tax. $20 goes into equity that can be used to purchase an instrument in the future, and the other $6 is for our liability damage waiver, LDW, in case it gets damaged, lost, stolen, etc. That extra $6 a month would get him something else if the worst happened. The mom agrees to everything, but the dad scoffed and rolled his eyes and asked if the LDW is optional. I tell him yes, but it's very highly recommended because if something happens to the trumpet, they will be liable for the cost if they don't get the LDW. He assures to me that nothing will happen, and that he doesn't need to pay extra for bullcrap. I didn't tell the parents this, but based on what I'm seeing out of the kid's behavior, I had that feeling in my bones that something was gonna happen to the trumpet due to the kid's hyperactivity. It takes roughly 5 minutes to do the paperwork for a rental. About halfway through, Dad says to Mom, "This is taking for ducking ever. I'm gonna walk to Home Depot and get my tools, there's a Home Depot right across from the parking lot." Mom says that the gentleman, me, is almost done and tells him to be patient. He just tells her to grab the kid and meet him there when it's done. He then left. Mom apologized for his behavior and finished the rental with that guilty look on her face. After Mom and hyper kid left, I joked with my coworker and told him, "Just wait and watch them come back in the near future with a damaged trumpet without the LDW." He agreed but laughed it off, just like I did. And I thought that was the end of everything. My joke turned out to be a foreshadow. 3 days later, I'm working with my manager and the dad comes in by himself with the trumpet out of its case. His pupils were also dilated, so I had to guess he was high on something that was not weed. The trumpet's lead pipe was bent at a damn near 45-degree angle and there was a nasty dent in the bell. When I asked him what happened, the guy straight up said, "You a-holes rented us out a bad trumpet that cannot withstand damage. I work in construction and I know that metal doesn't bend after it's dropped." That was bullcrap because, from personal experience, brass instruments do bend and dent if they're dropped. And especially since this is a low-brand instrument, which we do normally rent out to beginner players, it is way more sensitive. He was demanding that he gets another trumpet with better quality. My manager asked him if he signed up for the LDW. Dad said, "Duck, no. I didn't want to pay for anything but a rental fee." My manager then told him that we couldn't get him another trumpet without the LDW, so he is liable for the cost of repair. Dad wasn't having any of it. But my manager did tell him that's our company policy. On to the climax. He then grabbed my manager by her wrist and started making claims about how the customer is supposed to be treated right. I went into rage because, "Yeah, no, you don't put your hands on a woman like that." I told him to get TF out right now. That's when he reached his hand back and smacked her in the face like a pimp. Fearing for my manager's safety, I quickly grabbed him by the bottom of his chin and slammed him onto the floor. I screamed in his face while holding him down firm, "You chose not to get the LDW. The trumpet is clearly damaged and you are liable for it for not wanting to pay an extra $6. Now get out. Now. And take your broken trumpet with you." I was afraid that he would start fighting me back, but he thankfully did not. I released him and he walked out all huffed up and didn't take the trumpet with him, all while flipping us off on his way out. After his high enraged ass left, I looked at my manager, whose face was already beginning to bruise, and asked if she was okay. She was, and she thanked me for standing up for her. But she also told me that this was something that had to get corporate's attention. Long story short, after the rock bottom and corporate being notified, I didn't get fired for assaulting a customer because, 1. Dad started everything, and 2. Who TF knows what coulda happened if I didn't stop the a-hole from doing more harm. The next day, which was my day off, my manager called me and said the mom called the store and apologized for what happened. From what I was told, she was already in the process of filing for divorce due to his drug addiction and abuse. She also came to the store later and paid for a dirt cheap trumpet to purchase. Since the rental was on the dad's credit card and he chose to leave the broken one behind, his next month payment would be the cost of the repair. This was back in October of 2021, so today, I'm hoping that that mom and kid are away from that a-hole, and I hope the kid learned how to take better care of the instrument. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.